So my name is Brandon Davis. I'm attorney with Witchy and Firestein and also the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I have to admit that I was supposed to do a prayer before we ate. I'm not a perfect person, so I'm very sorry about that. So hopefully you had a chance to say one for yourself. I know I did. All right. So we've got a number of things to discuss before we get to the main event, Chief Dan Chafin. We want to welcome a few new members today. If each of you could just come up to the podium, social security number, bank accounts, that type of thing. Let's start with AdGrid, Roy Browning.
Well, hello everyone. I am Roy. A little bit about me. I grew up in Sharon Center. I am proud that I am related to the executive director. We claim each other on most occasions. I was a firefighter medic in Chippewa Township for 9 years, so love to serve the community, love to give back in any way that I can. AdGrid USA is a marketing agency. We do a lot of government advertising. We work with local recruiting centers to help them get more visibility and help, Sergeant Smith down the street get his information in front of the people that he can talk to and things like that. But we also have a new branch that we started all for local advertising. That's all for smaller businesses, people who are doing social media management, Google Business Profile, SEO, and everything. They're doing that on a daily basis, and they're trying to find a way to do it faster and easier. We built a platform that allows everything to come into one place, and you can manage all of that stuff, with 3 clicks of a button. So if you're logging into 75 different locations, it's a chance to just log into one and handle it across all of them. So I'm excited to meet everybody that's here and participate in everything, and that's me. I thought you had to do something early. You very good job. I'm a millennial. This is my participation trophy.
That's good. Thanks, Roy. KD Outdoor Design is the new member. I don't believe anyone is here for them today. Efficiency Smart, Bob Golden. Bob, are you here? Perfect.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Bob Golden. I'm the account manager for Efficiency Smart. Efficiency Smart, for those who aren't familiar, is the City of Wadsworth's energy efficiency program. So we can work with you to find opportunities to save energy and reduce operating costs in your business, as well as help provide rebates to offset the cost for those improvements. So any customer of the City of Wadsworth's electric department is eligible for this program. And if you have a business and are looking for ways to be more energy efficient and sustainable, and also ways to help pay for those upgrades, look me up and I'm here to help. And I'm a Gen X, so I know we had a millennial, so.
Retro Party Center, Tina Cargill. All right, seeing none, thank you. Kim Sparks with Sparky's Pizza. Kim, are you here today?
This is not good. I bring in my beverage.
Perfect. Kim, there's a flag for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to try to do this without choking. I got a tickle in my throat right when you guys started this. So I am the proud owner of Sparky's Pizza in downtown Seville. My business goes back to 1974 when my late husband's family owned it in Rittman. I was in business from 74 to 94. And when my late husband's father passed away, they decided to just dissolve the business. He and I were high school sweethearts. We both worked there as kids, and he broke my heart when I was in college. And we got back together later on, and he just recently passed away. So we brought back Sparky 6 weeks before COVID, and the business has been doing amazing since. We've been voted best pizza in Medina County for 5 years. I don't know, has anybody been there? Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. I have a wonderful staff. I have a lot of family that works for me. So we like to give back to the community. So you will see that we that we do chicken barbecues once a month. We try to give back to an organization. This Sunday is a chicken barbecue. We're giving back to the Wadsworth Police Department. They do a lot for the community and giving. They do a lot with the children, beards for bikes and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure that we help them buy more bikes for the kids in the community. Do a lot for the anything with children we try to get involved in. The village, the civil village is amazing. From Mayor Carter to the police department to the fire and EMS, even the Board of Public Affairs, absolutely love them. They're very supportive of us. Other than that, that's me. That's my business. And thank you for allowing me to join your chamber.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, thank you and welcome new members. The Wadsworth Young Professionals is hosting their Mochas for Mentors meeting Thursday, May 22nd from 8 to 9 a.m. at the Suprema Center Community Room. The guest mentor, Jill Mikalski, CPA and shareholder at Corwin & Company, and the treasurer of the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce. Jill? There she is. Becoming involved in the... Let's do it, yeah. Thank you, Janie. Rightly deserved. Becoming involved in the Young Professionals provides opportunities to network, socialize with other young professionals and community leaders who live and work in Wadsworth. The group provides the members with a welcoming environment to grow professionally and develop new leadership skills. So if you're interested in attending, we've said this in the past and we'll say it again, you don't actually have to be young to be a part of the Young Professionals. It's welcome to everyone. They're open to everyone. The Women in Leadership group meets on the second Monday of most months. The next meeting is Monday, May 12th from noon to 1. The guest speaker is Teresa Beret, Executive Director of Marion's Closet. The Women in Leadership group is now meeting at the Wadsworth Dealers Community Room. The cost is $15, includes lunch. Please kindly RSVP to the Chamber by May 9th. And that's been an excellent event for the Chamber. I know the attendance has been great. All right, round of applause there. Thank you. All right, thanks to our partnership with WCTV, the Chamber is now offering a podcast service exclusively to our members at no cost. Each podcast is brief 10 to 12 minute interview with Janie. Janie, thank you. Everyone knows Janie. Let's see here. She'll send you 4 to 5 questions ahead of time to help you prepare. Once we're recorded, your podcast will go worldwide. Be emailed to our 1,200 chamber representatives, featured on our monthly newsletter, aired on WCTV, and shared on the chamber and WCTV's YouTube website. I was the first to do it, and I can admit I've signed thousands of autographs since then. So no, really, it's a great thing. Janie makes everyone feel comfortable. So I would recommend it if you want to kind of be given the opportunity to talk about your business, and it's just really great. And WCTV just made a new kind of podcast area and booth. So really professionally and well done. At our March meeting, we hosted the annual Easter basket scholarship auction to raise funds for Wadsworth High School graduating seniors. Thanks to the efforts of our guest auctioneers, Mr. Chief Dan Chafin and Sheriff Terry Grice, we were able to raise $12,000 for that event. We're thrilled to announce that a lot of round of applause today. Thrilled to announce that the Wadsworth High School Scholarship Awards on May 15th, the Chamber will present 10 $1,000 scholarships and one $1,500 David B. Memorial Scholarship. To celebrate their achievements, we express our support. We are inviting the scholarship recipients to our May 21st Chamber Luncheon. where they'll be given the opportunity to personally say thank you to our chamber community. Thanks to everyone who participated and helped in that meaningful and impactful event. Please mark your calendars for the Wadsworth Chamber Annual Golf Outing on Monday, August 4th at Rowega Golf Club. A big thank you to Vans Auto Service and Tire Pros for serving as our title sponsor again this year. Additional sponsorship opportunities for your business are available. For example, for $100, you can sponsor and be given a golf sign with your business along the green or the tees, your name displayed on the course, and your business listed in the evening program and in the chamber newsletter. While the golf teams are sold out, if you're interested in playing, we do have a waiting list, and just in case anyone drops out. So feel free to contact the chamber if you're interested in that. All right, just recently, the Wadsworth, Medina, and Northern Medina County Chamber Alliance came together for a speed networking event at the Western Reserve Masonic Community, and it was really a great success. We had 77 participants with the three chambers, and everyone had the opportunity to meet everyone involved. So you really had to bring 77 business cards, and that is a stack. But that was a great event. Because it went over so well, we're going to go ahead and organize a few more of those, so stay tuned for that. The Wadsworth Chamber is excited to support our members and celebrate their growth with 3 upcoming ribbon cutting ceremonies. Please mark your calendars for the following. Today, actually, photography by Felicity. Felicity? All right, thank you. That's at 5 p.m., 139 College Street here in downtown Wadsworth. Please join us and to celebrate Felicity today for her ribbon cutting. Wednesday, May 7th at 5 p.m., Grizzly Garage Door Services, 145 Rainbow Street in Wadsworth. Help us congratulate Tyler and Anna Barnhart, owners of Grizzly Garage Door Services, as they officially opened their business with their ribbon cutting ceremony. And lastly, Thursday, May 29th at 5 p.m., Quick Med Urgent Care at 1026 Williams Reserve Drive in Wadsworth. Please help Rhonda Kaczynski open her Quick Med Urgent Care to the community. We hope to see you at these exciting events, and we continue to support the thriving business of the community. All right, Megan Harvey. Megan, all right, round of applause. That Main Street Wadsworth Director has all the exciting details about the upcoming First Friday Off to the Races.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for letting me take a minute to share about our upcoming First Friday Off to the Races. We are so excited. This is our May event, and we are going to have live horses, hobby horse races, Kentucky Derby hat competition, so come deck to the nines. But we are very excited because this is our first summer concert. So it will be kicked off in our new downtown pocket park, and thanks to the city council, our community, and community partners, we're able to make this possible. So we hope to see you down there from 5:30 to 8, and then from 7 to 9 for Tricky Dick and the Cover-Ups, which is a top 40s tribute band. So we hope to see you there. Thank you. Oh, yes, thank you, Janie. So also very exciting, after a 5-year hiatus, next Saturday we will be bringing back the Craft and Herb Festival. So we have over 75 vendors, and they will be on the streets or on the sidewalks of downtown, on every single sidewalk. So we hope to see you there as we're bringing that event back, and hope to grow it again into getting up to 130 like we have in the past. So, and if you don't have a Mother's Day gift, it's a perfect opportunity for those last minute things. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. All right, we'll draw for 50-50 after Chief Dan Chafin. Please remember those proceeds benefit the Chamber's scholarship. Our next Chambership Luncheon will be May 21st, when Superintendent Dr. Andy Hill and Treasurer of Wadsworth City Schools, Doug Beeman, will present the State of the Schools address. All right, today's program. Chief, Janie must really like it because she really wrote a nice bio here for you. So.
I made some of it up.
All right, Chief Dan Chafin proudly serves as the Chief of Police for the City of Wadsworth, bringing leadership, integrity, and strong commitment to community engagement. Known for his approachable style and dedication to public safety, Chief Chafin plays a key role in building trust between the police department and Wadsworth residents. Under his leadership, the department has embraced innovative tools and proactively addressed crime and enhanced community security, all while ensuring privacy and transparency. While he's leading public safety initiative, volunteering his time, and helping out being our guest auctioneer at Wadsworth Chamber events, Chief Chafin is a visible and valuable presence in the city of Wadsworth. Today, Chief Chafin is here to help us understand the implementation of flock safety cameras throughout the community. These license plate reading cameras are designed to help law enforcement detect and deter crime, recover stolen vehicles, and assist in the investigations, all while respecting community privacy. The Wadsworth Police Department is committed to leveraging technology to enhance public safety while maintaining transparency and accountability. The flock system does not track individuals or use facial recognition. It only captures vehicle data to assist in real-time alerts and investigative leads. Chief Chafin emphasizes the importance of this tool in keeping Wadsworth a safe place to live, work, and visit. Chief Chafin.
Can you guys all hear me if I don't use the microphone? Is that all right? Give me a little freedom to move around. Oh, I can't with the TV. Sorry. Relegated to the podium. It's going to be really hard. Janie covered basically everything in the introduction, so I don't want to interrupt your time anymore. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. But also, thank you to Janie. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. Janie has been a good friend to me personally, and she has really helped introduce me to people in the community and events like today. This is a really good opportunity because she did hit some keynotes. This is a really important tool for our department, other departments in the area, but it also does come with privacy concerns and other things like that. And so it's really important, I think, for law enforcement to be in front of that and explain what the technology is and how it works. So just a quick show of hands. Is anybody familiar with flock safety or license plate reader technology at all? A couple of hands here and there. So we have been doing this program this week. We're going on our third year, and to start with, this has entirely been grant funded. So we have essentially been able to explore this technology without any cost to the city. And so today we want to talk through what is flock, what is an LPR, what's a license plate reader camera, how does it work? We're actually going to show you what the search screens look like. We're going to show you what the results look when they come back. But we also want to tell you some success stories because I think that's really important. Something else that's really relevant to this group today is Flock's backstory. They have an amazing entrepreneurial story. It is the true American dream of there is a problem, I am going to put my mind and people to work on it, and we're going to solve that problem, and we're going to turn that into a successful business. But also, as we go through this, if you as a business owner, as you as a resident, a member of a neighborhood association, you go to a house of faith here in the city, they are not just available to law enforcement. They can be purchased by private companies. They could be purchased by nonprofits. They could be purchased by neighborhood associations. And it really can go a long way to securing our community. So I'll go ahead and move to the next slide. So this is what a flock camera looks like. And what is flock safety? Flock Safety is a company specializing in crime prevention and evidence gathering technology. Flock has expanded from the original license plate reader camera, but now they have video cameras, they have mobile security trailers, they do gunshot detection. They have a partnership with a US American-made drone company where they are exploring drones as first responders. They have software, they're creating real-time crime centers. So this company that started in 2017 has started from literally a project in this gentleman's house to a company that has nationwide reach. And on the next slide, you'll see him as well too. He's significantly younger than me, so there may be a little jealousy here. But this is Garrett Langley. He is the gentleman that founded Flock. The backstory on this is that he had a neighbor's home that got broken into. Some neighbors had seen a suspicious vehicle in the area. And so when the police officer came out to the scene, and this is in the Atlanta metro area, they said, hey, we got a great description of the car. Here's the information. Go solve the case. And you can imagine how many vehicles match this description of this white sedan that was seen driving through the neighborhood, and the police officer politely told him, Do you know how many thousands of vehicles match that description? There is literally nothing we can do with that information. We have zero evidence. And so Garrett said, well, what do you need? And they're like, well, for starters, a license plate would be a great investigative tool. So Garrett, with his background as an electrical engineer, started crafting a camera that he could use to hopefully capture that information. One of his first prototypes they deployed in the neighborhood, and sure enough, this same suspect came back, and this time they had actual photographic evidence of the vehicle and the license plate, and that officer was able to go and actually do something with that information and solve the case, and that's where the idea was born. So now that has grown from one camera made in his house to, I think at their last evaluation after their last round of private investment, is about $8 billion. So from 2017 to today, that's how much they've grown that company, and now they have a nationwide reach. So that's kind of the background here. So this is what the cameras look like. This is an LPR. So LPR stands for license plate reader. So this technology is built on first generation LPRs, other companies that were out there, they were using infrared because the license plates will actually have a reflective quality to them, and so they were using that. What Flock did is they focused on just increasing the quality of that camera that's inside that unit to capture higher resolution images. They also have overlaid that with machine learning to be able to recognize the patterns. So they don't just recognize Ohio license plates, they recognize any plate. They don't need the reflective IR aspect of it, so they can read temporary tags. But they're also able to, because of that machine learning, tell the make of a vehicle, pick up the color of the vehicle. They're able to differentiate between sedans, SUVs, trucks, coupes, convertibles. They can even get into, they've got stickers on the car, they've got logos on the car, it has a luggage rack, it doesn't have a luggage rack. So the way they explored the technology gave them the ability to have all of these other options here. So what are we doing in Wadsworth with them? And I guess I should also say, this essentially works like a cell phone camera. That's basically what it is. These are deployed and they have cellular connections, so it's the equivalent of taking a really high-powered cell phone and putting them in locations throughout the city. They're motion activated, so they're not constantly running, and you can power them two different ways. You can do one with the solar panels, which they started out in Atlanta, so when they moved into Ohio, they had to increase the size of the solar panel for obvious reasons. But because we are a power supplying community here in Wadsworth, ours are directly plugged in, and we do not have to depend on the solar panels whatsoever. So right now we have 12. We are in the process of expanding that to 14 here in our community. And again, this was all done through grant funding through the state. So the entire cost of this project up until this point and through April of next year is all going to 100% be funded through grant dollars to come at no cost to us as an agency. So taking a look at the next slide. So again, they're motion activated. They're using this recognition of the vehicles, and Flock is great for two reasons. One, we can use it as a proactive tool, but these characteristics become really important on the back end. So a real simple example, a crime occurs in the community, we find out the where, the when, and we get a vehicle description. That allows us, even without knowing what that license plate is in the beginning, to go back in and say, okay, I'm looking for a black four-door sedan, it was a Chevy, and that allows us to start this search process. And again, we'll show you what those search screens look like here in a second. But it allows us to then start to whittle down these vehicles until we can narrow in on a suspect vehicle. So if we have other data that we've used from it could be private business cameras, city cameras, it really allows us to focus in on that suspect vehicle and be able to get it. The other way we can do it is if we already have the license plate, it can give us clues and indicators as to where that vehicle has been, not just here in Wadsworth, but it could also be Northeast Ohio, our county, or it could be nationwide because that's how big that network is. The middle point here I think is very important as well too. It's a searchable database. It's kept for 30 days. So that's one of the things that we hear is, this sounds very Big Brother. And I will tell you, as a law enforcement officer, when I go home at night, I go back to being a private citizen. And I have those same concerns. It's only kept for 30 days. The second that 30 days comes up, that information falls off. So this is not the Wadsworth Police Department, or any police department for that matter, building a years-long database where I'm going to go back through and I want to find this particular person's pattern of life for the 2 years. That's not what it's happening. It's the balance between what's a reasonable investigative period for officers and detectives versus what matters for the public's privacy. The other thing is that these cameras are all on public locations. They are capturing cars that are on streets. And it's that public nature of this interaction with the camera, that capturing that information. It's your vehicle's on a public road in view of the public. If I wanted to, I could pay an officer to stand by the road and write down descriptions and write down license plates. It's obviously highly, highly inefficient, and I need those officers to be doing other things than gathering this information. But that's how it works. And again, we can use vehicle make, model, color, other recognizable characteristics. Our detectives have gotten so sophisticated with this in the winter months, we were literally using snow patterns, salt patterns on vehicles to say, oh, look at this salt pattern in this surveillance footage. That's the same salt pattern, the same snow pattern that's on this flock image. That's how I know it's this vehicle. They've gotten really creative in as far as that goes. The other important point here at the bottom is this is capturing a picture of your car on a public roadway, and it's giving us the license plate. It does not capture names, addresses. It's not taking a picture of the person that's in the car. It is literally a picture of your vehicle and license plate. Now again, it's then using machine learning to say, hey, I think this is a Chevy, I think this is a Buick, I think this is a BMW. And it's helping us categorize that information, but it's not storing anything in terms of names, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, driver history. We don't know who those vehicles belong to until we take that next step and say, this is our suspect vehicle. Now we need to go find out who the suspect vehicle belongs to. And why, I guess a good point too is why would vehicle information be so important? When I went to the academy back in 2010, they had a statistic at the State Patrol that said roughly 80 to 85% of all crimes in the United States are either committed by a vehicle driving the suspects to this scene to commit a crime, they are using a vehicle to drive away from the scene of this crime, or the vehicle itself is actually used in the commission of crimes. And their point is when you're interacting with the public and you're doing traffic stops and talking to drivers, you need to, as an officer, be aware that this vehicle could be going not just for the speeding, not for rolling the stop sign, but this vehicle could be very well being used in the commission of a crime or leaving a crime scene or going to it. So you should always be aware and look at it. And it's that same principle that says if people are using vehicles to get to a crime scene, leave a crime scene, or commit a crime, that's why this becomes so important. So this is what the network looks like in Northeast Ohio. And this is one of the coolest parts about Flock, is that it's not just the Wadsworth Police Department that has the Flock camera system, it's that the Medina County Sheriff's does, the Medina PD, Brunswick PD, Seville Police Department, Akron, all of those suburbs around Cleveland. That map up there, that's who's using it in Ohio, and that's the network that we've built, each agency individually, to better cover this area, to better track crimes, and to be able to track individuals that we're looking for. So you can see we have the right to decide whether to share our information with other agencies or not. They have the same. So all of the green that's up there, that's shared with the Wadsworth Police Department, and that's who we're sharing with as well too. There's new departments coming on all the time, so those are the light blue. Requests have been made to share with those agencies. There's just a couple on there that are not currently shared, but that's what the network looks like in the area, and that's what makes it so powerful. That makes it such a great tool for us. So this is what the search screen looks like. So at the very top here, you've got the reason and the case number. And the reason why I'm starting there is because we need an articulable reason or a case number or call for service numbers for our officers to initiate the search. It won't let you go any farther out of this. And the reason why that's important is because everything that gets inputted into the system is auditable. It's trackable. So if there's ever a complaint of, well, why did an officer look up this vehicle? Or, why was my vehicle? We can go back to the very beginning and say, what was the reason for this search? What were we doing when this started? You can search with a plate. You can search without a plate. You can select the style of vehicle, so SUV, sedan, convertible. You can do very specific time and date ranges. You can do last 7 days, last 24 hours. And then also what they call the vehicle fingerprint, that is that machine learning that's continuing to evolve to say, well, what other identifiers can I use? What other identifiers might I need to search for this vehicle? And again, that gets into luggage racks, stickers, all kinds of things. And so on the next page here, wait, one more. So this is going to be our test example. So our reason here is tests, and we go back on the test and we audit this. This is for our demonstration purposes today. So in this one, we had the license plate that we started with. I guess I should ask another thing. How many people in here know the license plate on their car? All right, not bad, not bad. But my point with that is that when these pop up, I have no idea who that vehicle belongs to. My officers have no idea who that vehicle belongs to. It's not until that pool gets whittled down where we get to say, okay, now let's run this vehicle. Okay, this person very clearly has nothing to do with this. Next one. Oh, this one. This one looks interesting. We need to start looking here and pushing further, and that's just an investigative step. So this is what it looks like. We've got our reason for the search that's filled in. We've got our license plate filled in, and then we have our date and time reference here as well too. And this is what those search results look like. So again, there's nobody's face on here. I have no idea from just looking at this whose vehicle this belongs to. In this particular case, I was looking to track down this person because they happen to be our administrative assistant and they hold the whole office together. So that's who our example car is here. This is Jenny's car. She's probably fleeing the police department because she's tired of dealing with me for the day. But these are our internal cameras here. So this is what the images look like. And so again, I really harp on this point to say, that's all I know. I don't know whose car that is. I didn't know that that was Jenny's until she was kind enough to explain the presentation. But then on the next slide is what it looks like. Now these are cameras expanded farther out. So these are other jurisdictions where her vehicle has gone on these dates and times. But that's the output. That's exactly what I see. That's exactly what our detectives see, what our officers see. And I think it's important for you guys to know that. So on to the next slide here. So how do we utilize flock data? So we can access this several ways. So our officers that are out on the road, they can fire up flock in the background, and they can actually set it so when a vehicle that we're intentionally looking for goes by and activates one of our flock cameras, they will get a proactive alert. So you can see on the proactive alert sides here. So warrant subjects, if that subject is linked to the vehicle, when they drive by any one of our 12 cameras in Wadsworth, it pops right now and says, hey, Wadsworth Police Department, this vehicle is associated with a warrant subject. This vehicle has stolen plates. This vehicle is a stolen vehicle. They also do real-time updates for Amber Alerts and missing persons. So if we've had a child that has been kidnapped from another community and they hit one of our 12 cameras, that's the trigger for us to start rolling that way and to find that vehicle. Real-time alerts, so we can create our own custom hot list alerts. What's a hot list? A hot list is if we're working a case, let's say, it seems every summer we have people that'll come in and they'll break into cars. I'm sure you probably had that in your neighborhood. They're looking for the doors that are unlocked. They rifle through vehicles. If we have a suspect vehicle in mind, we can place that onto our own custom hot list. And so while night shift's out driving around and that vehicle hits that camera, everybody that's working night shift gets the alert and they say, hey, at this time, at this camera location, ooh, hey, it hit this next one over here. It gives us an opportunity to get out there and get to that vehicle. We also have this up in dispatch, so our dispatchers are great partners with this as well too. When they see that flock alert, they're entering a call for service, they're dispatching the closest unit, and they're getting people going to those areas for these proactive alerts because obviously, when it comes to an Amber Alert, a missing person, we want to get out there as quickly as possible for that. At the same time, if you have a warrant, I would say that it is reasonably likely to assume that you perhaps are engaging in further criminal activity, and we want to be aware of that as well too, and we want to be able to get out there and find those people and take them into custody. And then as we talked before, on the investigative side, we can go back for 30 days, and now we can say, okay, we had this incident that took place at this date, this time, here's our vehicle description, narrow that search. But also, and I'll get to when we get into some of our case highlights later, we've used this to say, wait a minute, why is this vehicle in this neighboring jurisdiction? We give them a phone call and find out, guess what? They've been engaged in that same criminal activity in their jurisdiction, and it gives us, either on our own or with those agencies, to tie all that together and build bigger cases. So, what kind of cases have we used this on? There's been several. So we've got found property. which is actually a pretty easy one, and we'll get into the specifics there. We've used it in accident investigations. Based on some of our locations for those accidents, the flock camera actually captured where those vehicles were positioned right before the accident took place. So I'll give you an example. So you're getting off of 76, you're going to go northbound onto High Street. You've got the 2 turn lanes there. Well, guess what happens? If there's no witnesses that stick around and you and the other car that are turning at the same lane, I'm going to say it was Janie's fault that she came into my lane. Janie's going to say, I'm way too nice of a person. There's no way I came out of my lane. Had to be your fault. And the officer's stuck. The damage looks identical. But with a flock camera in that location area, we've literally had them capture the license plate as this car has already drifted halfway out of its lane. And it's a nice tool for the officers to be able to use. Hit skip accidents. Why is this even on the board? Well, if you've ever been involved in a hit skip accident and the other person is not there, you know you're going to turn it into your insurance company. You're probably going to, you may or may not get dinged for that later. And there's a lot, you may end up paying your deductible and everything else that goes into it. And we have solved several of these hit skip accidents using this tool. Theft and shoplifting. Obviously, we have a number of stores, number of big box stores in the community in Wadsworth. Very close highway access. It's easy for somebody to jump off the highway, hit the store, jump back on the highway, and be out of there. But with our cameras, we are doing a much better job of capturing that information, capturing that license plate information, and giving us a direction to go to follow up in those investigations. Stolen license plates. Why am I using a stolen license plate? Well, I can tell you it's because I'm up to continued no good. If I was going to just not be doing anything, I'd be using my own license plate. I need a stolen license plate if I'm about to go commit other crimes. So being able to proactively seek out those vehicles, get those plates recovered, and get those individuals prosecuted, that's very important. Missing persons, we've actually had some of those outside of our jurisdiction where we've gotten flock alerts where we've been able to go and find those individuals, so that has been a great tool. Warrant subjects, again, these are people that have already been charged for criminal activity. What else are they doing? Why else are they here? These are people that we want to capture, one, to hold them accountable for what they have done in the first place, but also to prevent crime on the back end as well, too. Stolen vehicles, we've had these in our jurisdiction as well, too. It's a great tool because, again, it gives us that proactive alert. If you think about the math and the statistics that need to go into, while you've got officers out on patrol, their patrol path is completely randomized. Well, our suspect is just out driving around, and that's completely randomized as well, too. So for those two things to time up at the exact right moment, and one of my officers to get behind that car and run the plate and capture it, there's a lot of chance that goes into that. But these being at fixed locations throughout the city and at fixed locations throughout Northeast Ohio and all across the country, it takes that out of it. It takes part of that equation and really reduces it. TPO and CPO violations. Why are these important? Well, there's a party in this case that has been threatened or feels threatened by another. We've used these two ways. We've used them, one, to say, hey, guess what? You're not supposed to be within X thousand feet of this property. Well, guess what? I have evidence now that you were well within that distance, and now you have a warrant for your arrest. We've also used it proactively to say, hey, there are some of these that we are really concerned about. We think this individual is dangerous. Let's make sure it's in our hot list, all of the vehicles associated with them. And then when we proactively get the alert that that is going off for a CPO violation that's near their house, how great is that for us to be able to start to move that way to make sure that something worse is not happening? And that's been a great tool. We've used these on domestic strangulation, both in and out of our jurisdiction. It's helped us put people at the right place at the right time to prosecute the case. It's helped us track down the suspects in those cases to find them. It's played a big role in cases like that. We've had robberies, both inside the community and outside, that we've used these to solve as well, too. Obviously, those are very dangerous crimes where you have the threat of violence or you have force being used in the commission of a theft. And then overdose deaths. There's a couple here we'll show in some specific case highlights, but I think everybody is aware of the opiate pandemic, what that's done, and our department, our detectives especially, take those cases very, very seriously because this is not just a drug trafficking case. This is a case where the drug trafficking has literally led to the death of an individual, and we have used these very successfully in the prosecution of those cases as well, too. So we'll get into some specific case highlights here as well. The very first one, I think, out of the gate, we had a business. So folks like yourself, they had a business sign. It was relatively near their dumpster. And this gentleman driving down the street sees the sign next to the dumpster and says, it must be trash. I'll take that sign. Well, it wasn't. It was the business's new sign that they had just put out there. Simple case, but we were able to identify the vehicle, identify the subject, and then have him return the sign. No charges, no harm, no foul. Sorry for the confusion. Didn't mean to take your sign. Next one up is going to be, all right, so we had a family that pulled up at Get-Go. While they were there, they accidentally dropped $175 cash. We had a vehicle description, but we had no idea who that belonged to. We didn't have a license plate from Get-Go, and nor am I going to put on Facebook, hey, we found $175 cash. If you left it, make sure to come see Chief Chafin. But in this case, again, just something that's very simple. We were able to say, oh, that's a great picture of the vehicle. We don't have the license plate. Well, they drove by flight camera. We were able to pick up the phone and say, hey, you happen to drop $175 at Get-Go, and they were very, very grateful to have that back to them. All right, so this one, a warrant arrest and life sentence, and I will preface this by the nature of this particular case is nothing short of what I would call evil and just awful. But we had a gentleman that we were prosecuting for rape, and unfortunately the victim in that case was his own daughter. In our case, we were not going to have the threshold necessary for a life sentence, but while our detective was working on that, he was able to prove other offenses that had happened in a neighboring jurisdiction, and based on the age of the victim at the time, he was going to be eligible for a life sentence in that case. And so part of law enforcement is risk mitigation, and I think you can imagine when you know that you are going to be convicted of a crime that awful, that there is some expectation that you are not getting out for a very long time, if ever. That, on our end, really increases the risk associated with that. If you know you're going to jail for the rest of your life and that you are not likely to have a positive experience in the facility based on the nature of your crimes, you probably have more to lose. And that's a threat to our officers, it's a threat to the community, it's a threat to that individual. So in this particular case, rather than create a potential barricade situation at his home, we put his license plate into flock. We waited till he was in the car, he was mobile. We did a routine traffic stop, and during the routine traffic stop, got him out of the car and then took him into custody. He's safe, we're safe, the community's safe, but that has, it's a really, really cool tool when it comes to that. Again, I mentioned there's a couple on here. Overdose death in 2024. This was one of the key components. It put the vehicle, we knew from a very thorough investigation that this individual was likely here, but then when we also checked the flock cameras, our drug dealer was here in his car, in our community, timed up in proximity with the buy, and that was a solid piece of evidence. So rather, again, than somebody getting charged with drug trafficking, he's now going to get corrupting another, which carries a 4-year minimum sentence. And so that was an opportunity not just to prosecute a drug dealer, but to remove that drug dealer from that system for about 4 years. And that was a great tool in that case. This is last year. Our detectives got a random call from Pennsylvania, and they said, hey, we just had this armed robbery out here. We checked flock, and we saw that they got off at 94 and 76 in Wadsworth. We don't know who you guys are. We don't know what's in Wadsworth, but can you check for this vehicle around this date and time? So we did, and luckily enough for everybody involved, they were on a multi-state road trip before they got to PA to commit their armed robbery. And on their way, they needed to stop at Dunkin' Donuts. And when they did stop at Dunkin' Donuts, they handed them their credit card, and we were able to get that information, and that led to the successful prosecution of an armed robbery out in Pennsylvania. And again, that speaks to the network and how we can all have each other's backs as long as we have this tool.
And thanks to the long line, they were still there when you got there.
This is not a traffic control discussion about Dunkin' Donuts. I did not sign up for that. We had Grizzly Mart. They broke the glass out of their front door. They came in, committed a B&E, a theft from there. But as they continued in this investigation, they saw that that was not the only store that they targeted. We had probably the best case of anybody using Flock to put the vehicle here that led to the suspects. It led to the connections in the other one. We actually prosecuted this one rather than just as a one-off in our community. We did the RICO statute, which is an organized effort, multi-county. And in that case, I think the total is roughly about $25,000 that have been stolen from all those businesses that we were able to prosecute using this as a tool. And the Flock, I'll tell you, was key to getting that started because there wasn't any other physical evidence right out of the gate, and that was a huge tool in that. Medina County Credit Union fraud. We had a gentleman that had flown in from California, was using false information to open up accounts, to make withdrawals from other people's accounts. Again, that was another one when we put them all together because he had targeted multiple locations at multiple credit unions. We're talking $17,000 to $25,000 in fraud that this gentleman had committed. And again, out of state from California. If we don't get this Flock hit, I have no idea who that person is. I have no reasonable expectation that I'm going to come into contact with him. It's not a known entity. But again, being able to get that vehicle description, the license plate, start connecting these dots, working with other agencies, it's a tremendous tool. We had a juvenile that was missing out of New York that had found their way all the way out here to Wadsworth. So again, that proactive Flock missing person alert, we were able to locate them with the vehicle. They were safe. We were able to make arrangements to get them back to New York. But again, that speaks to this nationwide network and how important that is in all of this. So this is a really, really interesting case. And also, as a side note, Detective Innocenti, who worked on this, did an incredible job. So there was a group coming up out of Colombia, and they were running up and down the East Coast, and they were committing targeted burglaries on Asian business owners. And their theory is that they are more likely to keep cash on hand at their house. They're more likely to keep jewelry on hand at their house. So what this group was doing is they were doing their research. They would find owners of Asian markets, Asian restaurants, and then they would then work that back to their home address. Very sophisticated group. They were coming in dressed as like utility workers. They were doing due diligence on the front end. They would follow these families for days to get their pattern of life. And then when they knew they were at the restaurant or the store, they were breaking into the home, taking cash, taking jewelry. So there was a string where we were probably one of 7 or 8 in Northeast Ohio. Again, Detective Innocenti did a fantastic job, used several tools, but Flock played a role in that, and one of the agencies, this was like right as we were coming on to Flock, they had a hit on theirs, and so that led him down the rabbit hole of undoing this network. When it was all done, and when all said and done, the victims in this case, the stolen assets added up to around $90,000. There was also a scene where they found zip ties and some other things because if they got their timing off. We were able to actually get one of these guys in custody before they went back to Columbia, and Adam with the Medina County's prosecutor's office, and also with the help of the FBI said that this case, because it was so well put together, this was the first person out of any of these crews out of Columbia that was willing to do a proffer with our prosecutor's office to explain the network and the nature of how their organization ran. So that is a case that, again, love Flock, but I also want to take a moment and sell our people as well, too. That's Officer Adam Innocenti here in Wadsworth. Nationwide, that's the first time the FBI was aware that there was a good enough case to get a proffer so that they could figure out what the rest of that organization looks like. So that was a great case. We had a felon out of New York, had a warrant for domestic violence and strangulation. Again, obviously somebody that needs to be caught. There is a victim back in New York that needs accountability. He needs prosecuted, but also somebody that we don't want in our community as well, too. Flock hit on that vehicle, led to an arrest, led to him getting shipped back to New York to face justice in that domestic violence and strangulation. Again, 2025 overdose death. This one is fairly recent and is gone through grand jury, and there's an indictment, but we were able to track this over to Akron. So we had a Wadsworth resident who recently succumbed to an overdose. They were able to track that back over to Akron where the deal happened. We had great video of that deal at a gas station parking lot, but still no license plate. Well, once it hit the road and it crossed Akron's network, now we have our person to go prosecute for this gentleman's death. And then recently, this case is actually very active and I think a great example. So Drug Mart in Medina and Montville, they actually proactively reached out to us. They got a report. Someone from Missouri called up and said, hey, my credit card was used at these 2 locations. I'm still down in Missouri. I don't know who's buying Drug Mart. I'm not even sure what Drug Mart is, but I am down in Missouri. I'm not spending this money. Drug Mart had been watching this individual and they were familiar with him, but they had never been able to identify him, and they were just waiting for the moment that they got the tip on this is for sure a stolen credit card that he is using. And they were very proactive. They checked other transactions that day. They sent us an email right away and said, hey, not only did he hit these 2, but he hit yours, and he hit this one, and he hit this one, and he hit this one. So one of our detectives fires up Flock right away because we had a good vehicle description from Drug Mart and their cameras, using that vehicle description and then narrowing it down to those different areas that he had hit that day, was able to find the target vehicle. Target vehicle is a rental. The rental comes with an agreement, and we have our individual in custody. So far, the running total has crossed $105,000. And again, because our detectives were the one that's pushing it, they're looking to do that as a RICO case, and we're going to prosecute all of them rather than doing it individually. Funny story, he was on federal early release for doing the same thing. So, interesting. So as we were talking about this, we've been keeping a tracker on our end of the different kind of cases that we use it for, and I went back to our detectives and I said, yeah, this is really powerful, and we get it. When we see we're using it in theft cases, we're using it in these robbery cases, we're using it in these overdose deaths, but can we do something better, a little more detailed? Can we find out like how effective this tool has been for the last 2 years for us? So they went back in, they started digging into all of the numbers and the cases, and we had been kind of just keeping tabs. We put it together, and in the last 2 years, FLOC has been used in the prosecution of theft and loss cases over $256,000 in the last 2 years. There is one number that's not mentioned in this because I didn't think it was fair. We had a case, I won't say it specifically, but it's a large big box store that sells hardware equipment, so you can narrow it down to 50-50 on which one it was. We had a theft of lawnmowers. See, they've got the lawnmowers out there in the summertime with the cables. Somebody came in a U-Haul truck. They cut the cables, loaded a bunch of these in the back of the U-Haul truck and took off. U-Haul hits FLOC. We're able to run it down. So again, this was a group, part of a larger network. They had been doing it all over the country. While ours was not this high, that particular store had indicated that that group had taken them for approximately $300,000 in equipment. Now that one we didn't put up there because we didn't RICO it and we didn't do it in-house, and it was each agency across the country, across the network, did it themselves. But that's where we're at. That's the kind of impact that it's had in the last 2 years. And I think it's something that we're very excited about. And I will tell you from an officer and a detective standpoint, in that 2-year time frame, it has become one of our go-tos. It's one of the first things that we're doing is firing that up because it has been so much more efficient and so much more effective. Overall, from the time period we did a year look back, and we compared what we're calling like a positive case closure. A positive case closure would be this case is either ending in an arrest or it's ending in a warrant issued. It's a positive case closure. We did our job. The increase in FLOC has been a 10% higher closure rate. You're like, 10%, that's not a big deal. Well, if you average about 100 cases a month, that's 10 more victims. That's 10 more Wadsworth residents. It's 10 more Wadsworth businesses every month that we're able to solve things for compared before. And it's 120 people a year. And from that perspective, I think with that number and that perspective, I think this is a tool that we're just scratching the surface of getting to use. And again, it has so many benefits for us. So who else is FLOC available? I'm sorry. I missed the stats page, sorry. So we've apprehended 22 fugitives. We solved 23 vehicle hit skips. We've investigated and prosecuted 3 TPO cases. We've, impounded a vehicle out of it. This is a new one. When we've got the custom hot list, we have been, we'll have, let's say it's an OVI case, for example, and that vehicle has to be clubbed. It's not supposed to be driven. It's supposed to stay on the property. Well, this may come as a shock, but people are not necessarily, once not a rule follower, maybe always not a rule follower, they have cut clubs off or they're still driving those vehicles. Well, we just inputted those into our own hot list, and when they drive by, we go take them and take them back and take them to a tow yard and secure them again. We've located 4 missing people. We've recovered 2 stolen vehicles here. So that's what this program has looked like. Again, that total number and then also these individual cases together. So as I mentioned in the beginning, who is Flock available to and kind of why am I here and why am I, one, I love being able to tell the story. We have amazing people at our department. They do an incredible job, so it's in part that, but how is it relevant to businesses and other people in the room? Obviously, they have their law enforcement line, but they also have commercial and residential. So as I mentioned, if you are a business owner and you're looking to protect your property, or you're a group of business owners that happen to all be on the same street, these are great opportunities to be looking at, whether it's catalytic converter thefts, pallet thefts. Are you worried about people breaking in? Are there raw materials that are outside in a lot that you want to keep safe? Also, if you belong to a neighborhood association or you go to a house of worship that's here in Wadsworth, those are available for them as well too. Now, when you as an individual, as a residential or commercial, purchase that camera, that's what you get to see. You get to see your camera that's at your parking lot, at your entrance. But what that does for us is, with your permission, it plugs into our system, and now my officers, my detectives get to see that information, and it helps build that network. Like I said, we've done all of this with 12 cameras. We have the opportunity for the next year to expand that to 14, but I can't help think what that would be if we had more. And how much more effective that would be. So that's why it's important. So if any interest in that, obviously I'd be more than happy to facilitate that contact. And my general disclaimer as a city employee, I'm not allowed to endorse or suggest or anything else along those lines. But I do think it's important that everybody in this room knows what's going on and how it works, and also that opportunity exists for you as individuals and business owners. I think with that, if anybody has any questions, yes, sir.
I think you just answered my question. Can Flock coordinate with private security cameras like at Lowe's, Home Depot? And I think you just answered that question.
Yes. So again, one of the big box stores that sells construction materials and equipment, they actually at their corporate national level have a partnership with Flock, and they've been deployed. And so when ours came online, we were given access to that as well too. On their commercial side, they do constantly actively reach out to your Walmarts, your Home Depots, your Lowe's, Targets, all of those to try to set it up from that level. But then they're also looking for more regional or local businesses that are also interested in protecting that as well too. They do have a really neat technology. We do not have it, but they have essentially created a device that you could go to any camera system anywhere. It gets plugged in at that business, and it can become a live feed back to the police department. So if you had an armed robbery that was taking place or you're calling 911, it could instantaneously give them the access. It is relatively expensive, and it does rely on that public-private partnership. So that's not something they've explored, but that's just an example of kind of what they're doing in terms of innovation and continuing to push this. Yes?
So when you said residential, can an HOA or a street pitch in and buy one camera?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you come together as an HOA, real simple example, a lot of neighborhoods maybe have 1 or 2 ways in and out. And if you've ever had break-ins in your neighborhood, or you've had your cars broken into or gone through, the HOA can come in and together as a neighborhood association make that purchase. And if it's 1 camera for 1 street or 2 for both, now you've covered 100% of the activity in and out of your neighborhood. That then becomes a tool for us if we ever need to use it.
So to follow up on that question is, what's the cost of monthly? How do you opt? So it's $3,000 to buy one of those cameras. What is it to operate it?
That's it in its entirety. So it's $3,000 for 1 camera for the entire year. So that's literally everything. There is like an install fee if they're coming out and putting that up, but that's I think $650. But the one camera 1 year is $3,000, and so that gets you completely maintenance related. And on the back end, they actually have engineers that are constantly pinging and monitoring our system. And so there's been times where before we realized it, they've called us and said, hey, Wadsworth, one of your cameras is not running 100%. Our guy's going to be out on Tuesday. He's going to take that one down and put a new one up, and it's done. And so, and then you get into the renewals and things like that. How long, what kind of a term do you want to look at and all of that. But there's no maintenance cost, there's no upkeep cost. It's just one and done, that's it. And so again, if there's a group of businesses that happen to all be on the same street in the community, well, if you guys all have property that you want to protect, that's an opportunity to come together that way as well too.
Well, Dean, I'm going to stop you there because I'm so nervous that my husband's going to want one of these to see where I'm at.
Had we done the live feed, we could have just put in your plate and gone from there. Absolutely.
Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.